Yeah, so there's a few components to knowing how to help yourself and your child to calm down. So the first one is the brain science piece that I talked about, and helping your child understand about this alarm center in our brain and how it's there to help us and it helps us survive, but how also sometimes it can create this false alarm response. And so one of the ways we can help to turn off that alarm center is with positive self-talk. So our thoughts create our feelings, which create our actions, and then it goes round in this cycle. So if we can change our thoughts to something positive, then we're going to feel better, and then that will also impact our actions. So it's really important to be able to try to find that silver lining and focus on something positive, and that's going to help to keep the alarm center from being so heightened. The other part is breathing. And breathing is really important because it naturally helps calm those stress levels down in your body, which then sends the messages to the alarm center that things are not as bad as it seems. And breathing is kind of like playing a sport like tennis. So you wouldn't enter a tennis tournament without having practiced a lot first. So same with breathing. It really needs to be something that's been practiced and, if possible, regularly before you really need it in an urgent situation. So one of the ways I recommend to help with breathing practice is there's some great apps that are available these days. And so a couple that I recommend that are free. One is called Mind Shift, and that's more for teens and adults. And it has a couple of really good audios that lead you through a guided visualization. It also has some scripts on there for positive self-talk. And the other app is called the Smiling Mind app, which was created by an Australian psychologist. And I really like using that with children because he has a nice way of creating an imaginary, guided visual that helps you to practice breathing in your body. And really these exercises can take between 5 and 7 minutes. So it's something that could be built into a regular bedtime routine. And it actually helps to really build up those neural pathways in the prefrontal cortex so that you are able to calm yourself better. It also increases attention and focus, and there's numerous benefits. So breathing's another really important part. The other part about anxiety is about the future. And it's about worrying about what might happen and thinking of all the worst possible case scenarios. So we don't know exactly what the future holds. So therefore we need to stay in the present. And one of the ways that we've discovered to help us stay in the present is through breathing and concentrating on our breath, but also through our 5 senses. So one suggestion I have for parents is to create a comfort kit for your children. And the St. John Ambulance Group does have this great comfort kit here for children. And it comes with some nice things. It has a little toiletries kit and has some food. And it has a little stuffy, an activity book, which I definitely recommend. And then some other things that I would consider adding specifically to do with the 5 senses are, and you would have to check, your family members enjoy the scent, and they could each choose their own. But for example, this is a lavender spray. And so lavender is known to be a relaxing mist. And so sometimes just spraying that, it really helps you focus on the present when you smell something. So having some kind of scent would be really helpful. Then for touch, you may choose something soft, like a stuffy, or it may be something more like a fidget toy, like one of these stress balls, or it could be these kind of fidgets, and you can put this into many different shapes. These Tangle toys are kind of fun. And then Silly Putty, this one's called Aaron's Thinking Putty, and this is a great one too. My kids really like this one. There's lots of it. It comes in different colors. You can snap it. So that one's a really fun one. And then for taste, often I recommend some kind of gum, because that also just helps with the self-regulation when you're chewing. And the taste, again, helps you to take your mind off of things and be more in the present. For sound, you might want something like a little music box like this, or I have this other little one here with a little bell inside. Again, it's just things to help you to stay in the present. And then for sight, it might be something like a picture of the family, or it might be a picture of a holiday, or just a picture of nature that you really like. But try to think about the 5 senses and what you could put in the comfort kit for that, as well as some little activities to help distract. So things like a little travel game or a pack of cards. But this is something that could be a really fun activity, and everybody could create their own a little package to go into their kids' comfort kit, and adults, you know, could choose some of these items to help keep themselves calm as well. Very often when somebody, especially if it's one of our children, is in emotional distress, our first instinct is we want to fix the problem because we want to help the child feel better. But in actual fact, the child's brain is so overcome by emotion that that prefrontal cortex, this wise leader part of the brain, isn't really able to hear anything right now. And so they're not able to problem solve or think rationally. So I have a little saying to help all of us remember, and that is feelings first, logics last. So we need to validate the feelings. And the other little saying I say is, when your child's in a state, validate, validate, validate. So hopefully that can help us remember that if your child's crying and trembling and really scared, you need to just give them a hug and just say to them, I can see you're really, really scared right now. And that's okay, I'm here with you and I understand why you're so scared. And by naming the emotion, it helps the child feel understood, and that's what's going to help them to calm down, and then they'll later be able to hear the logical problem-solving piece. But it's really important to focus on the feelings first, logics last. And then the other part is the hugging, because we know that's comforting, but we also now know that it actually releases oxytocin. And so that helps us to feel good inside and to feel bonded to the person. So holding someone's hand, rubbing someone's back, giving them a hug, we're also creating that oxytocin. So I have another little saying, which is cuddle and huddle together. So if you're in an emergency, it is important to have that physical touch.